Hello Gordon, you've now been MP for just over a year. Are you enjoying the job?
Yes, very much so. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I've found this past year stimulating and very interesting.
How do you try and get noticed in Parliament during your first year?
Well, I didn't actually try and get noticed. I mean, that's not what I'm there for. I'm not there for me, I'm there for my constituents, and whether I get recognised or whether I get noticed is totally irrelevant to me. But I have been very busy during that year. I mean, during that year, I've asked a number of, I think 21 different questions in Parliament of different ministers. I've made 8 or 9, I lose track of them, 8 or 9 speeches in the chamber itself, plus I've made 3 speeches in Westminster Hall on things including unauthorised traveller sites, which is a big issue in our area, as you know, fresh produce in prisons, which actually stimulated a debate that was very embarrassing for the minister at that time, and most recently I raised did a speech about the roads infrastructure in Sittingbourne and Sheppey, because I think that the roads infrastructure in Sittingbourne and Sheppey actually is the key to our future economic success.
Whilst you've been quite busy in Parliament, I was wondering if you could give us some idea of how busy your constituency office has been.
Well, the bulk of the work we do isn't about politics, it's about helping people. And we, as you intimate, I have staff in Westminster and I have staff down here in Sittingbourne, in the constituency office. And the constituency office is particularly busy because obviously this is the focal point for local people. And during the last year, we've dealt with something like 1,200 different cases, and that doesn't include all the emails and telephone calls that we make that don't actually lead to prolonged casework.
How have you helped local business in Sittingbourne and Sheppey in the past year?
Well, that's been the focus of the whole thrust of what I've wanted to achieve, and the whole thrust of what I want to achieve in the future. I believe that I have very little influence and very little power as a Member of Parliament, surprisingly so. But what I can do is act as a catalyst to help people. One of the targets that I've got is to try and reduce the level of unemployment in our area. And to do that, I've got to help our businesses to get through the current financial difficulties, and also then expand to provide more employment in the future. 2 ways I've hopefully done that. One is by going around and visiting them and speaking to them and finding out what their problems are so that I can then relate them back to the government. And the other way, which has been more proactive, is to start our own website, which is proven very successful, which is called the Sittingbourne and Sheppey Link to Business, which allows local businesses to get direct contact with me to ask me about government policy, if they've got any concerns about a particular government agency and need help, we can offer that help straight away. And part of this Sittingbourne and Sheppey Link to Business is that we have monthly breakfast forums to which they can sit down with me, talk about their problems. I can explain what the government's trying to do to help them, and it's a two-way thing. So to go back to your original question, what I'm doing is working closely with them on almost a day-by-day basis.
Which local campaigns have you been supporting in the area?
Well, we've tried to help wherever we possibly can. We're here, if people need help, we're here. But on the wider issue, within the wider community, there's been a number of quite big issues that we've had to tackle and I'll give you a couple of examples. The first example is that the Isle of Sheppey Academy which opened 18 months ago now, has the funding for the new buildings for it. There was some delay in it's being released, and I campaigned and wrote to ministers and collared ministers in the corridors, and eventually managed to ensure that the £54 million of investment was actually released, and the first turf has now been dug, and we're on track to within the next couple of years of having a brand spanking new academy on the Isle of Sheppey, which is going to be great. So that's one thing that I think that I've achieved. One failure in many ways is, although we haven't finished the fight yet, is that the government decided to close Sittingbourne Magistrate Court, and I've been working with local people to try and get them to change their mind to keep it open. It is a fight that apparently has been lost because the government is determined to close the court, completely ignoring all of the arguments that we put forward with regard to the difficulty that it's going to be for certain people in my constituency to get access to justice, because they're going to have to go to courts as far away as Canterbury or Maidstone, or in some instances Sevenoaks.
I understand you've created 2 campaigns yourself. Could you tell us a little bit more about them?
Oh, I developed and started what we call Litter Angels. That's 4 years. It's in its 4th year now. So that was before I was a Member of Parliament. I actually started Litter Angels, which actually is a way in which we can educate and encourage young people to not only not drop litter but also to pick up litter. And we do that by going around schools with workshops to show them how they can use litter to make it into art forms. So that's been a very useful. We've extended that this year, and I'm delighted to say that Litter Angels is now being converted into a charity, so with a view to working very closely with Keep Britain Tidy to perhaps extend it nationwide in the long term. So that's one very exciting project. And the second part of that is that Litter Angels is also this year promoting, during August, a big clean-up with one of our local newspaper groups, the Kent Messenger Group, to actually encourage people to commit during August to undertake at least one project which will in some way clean up our area. And we've had some good successes there, from small and from quite large organisations. In fact, I met yesterday with South Eastern, who have reiterated their commitment to cleaning up both Sittingbourne and Sheerness stations during that month. So that's 2 good campaigns that we've run locally.
Looking forward, what do you hope to achieve in the next year as being an MP?
Well, we had a very exciting announcement made a couple of weeks ago when a Danish company called Vestas, who make wind turbines, announced that they had taken out an option on 70 hectares of land in Sheerness Port, with a view to eventually building a factory there to build the next generation of wind turbines here in my constituency. And much of my energies over the next few months, and if not year, is going to be concentrated on getting in place the conditions that will allow Vestas to have the confidence to actually change those options into a full-time commitment to our area. That's going to create, if we can achieve it, 2,000 plus jobs, and that would be an achievement, and I'd feel that I'd done my job as Member of Parliament if I achieved that.